Commander Zekthor stood on the bridge of the warship, Talon of Supremacy. His three eyes watched the main screen with interest. A new contact had appeared in the Kelros sector. This was Vryn space. The Vryn Dominion controlled this region, and they did not welcome strangers. The scanning officer turned to face him. Her skin was dark blue like all Vryn. She moved her clawed hands over the controls. "Commander, we have identified the vessel. It is human." Zekthor felt a wave of satisfaction. Humans. The newest species to reach the stars. They had appeared only a few years ago. Most galactic powers did not take them seriously yet. The Vryn had heard stories. Humans used simple technology. Their ships were slow. They had no great military strength. "What type of ship is it?" Zekthor asked. "It appears to be a cargo vessel, sir. The design matches human commercial patterns. It is called the Odyssey's Gift. Basic shields. Standard engines. Nothing special," Zekthor smiled. His teeth were sharp and white. He had been a hunter for 20 cycles. During that time, he had captured 47 vessels. Each one had tried to run. Each one had failed. The Vryn were the best hunters in known space. Their tracking systems could follow a ship through 5 jumps. Their stealth technology made them invisible to almost every scanner. "This will be easy," Zekthor said. "A human cargo ship with old technology. We will study it first, learn about their systems. Then we will capture it and take it back to the homeworld." His tactical officer looked up. "Should we hail them, Commander?" "Warn them they have entered Dominion space?" "No," Zekthor said. "We observe first. The humans do not know we are here. Let us see how they behave when they think they are alone. This will teach us much. The Vryn were famous for this. They did not rush into battle. They watched. They learned. They understood their prey before they struck. This method had made them successful for generations. "Engage stealth systems," Zekthor ordered. "Full power. I want us completely hidden. Then move us into shadowing position. Stay at maximum scanning range." The bridge crew moved quickly. Lights dimmed as power flowed to the stealth systems. The Talon of Supremacy was now invisible. No normal scanner could detect them. Even advanced military sensors would have trouble. The Vryn had spent centuries perfecting this technology. The warship moved closer to the human vessel. The Odyssey's Gift continued on its path. It did not change speed. It did not alter course. The humans seemed unaware of the danger. "Begin detailed scans," Zekthor commanded. "I want to know everything. Hull composition, power output, weapon systems, communication frequencies, everything." The scanning officer worked at her station. Data began flowing across the screens. Zekthor read the information with growing confidence. The human ship was exactly what it appeared to be. Simple. Basic. Weak. "Their shields are standard commercial grade," the officer reported. "Their hull is basic titanium alloy. Nothing special. Their weapons are defensive only. Light plasma cannons. They would not damage our armor." Zekthor nodded. This matched everything the Dominion knew about humans. They were weak. They had arrived late to galactic civilization. They did not have the advanced technology of older races. "How many crew members?" he asked. "Life signs indicate 12 individuals, Commander. All human. Good, a small crew. This will make capture easier." Zekthor looked at his tactical display. The human ship was moving through empty space. There were no other vessels nearby. No one would witness what happened here. "Sir, should we prepare boarding teams?" the tactical officer asked. "Not yet. We will follow them for 2 days. Maybe 3. I want complete data on their systems. I want to know their crew routines. When they sleep. When they are alert. We will learn everything, and then we will strike when they are most vulnerable." This was the Vryn way. Patience. Observation. Perfect timing. Other species might rush in with superior firepower. The Vryn did not need to do this. They were smarter than that. Hours passed. The Talon of Supremacy maintained its distance. The scanners worked continuously. They recorded everything about the human vessel. Power fluctuations. Communication transmissions. Course changes. Zekthor reviewed the data during his rest period. The humans seemed completely ordinary. They sent routine status reports. They talked about normal things, food, sleep schedules, minor repairs. There was nothing suspicious. On the second day of tracking, something small happened. The Odyssey's Gift made a course adjustment. It was a minor change, just a few degrees. Ships made such adjustments all the time to avoid debris or optimize their route. But the change put the human vessel at exactly the edge of the Vrin scanning range. The Talon had to adjust its position slightly to maintain optimal scanning. Coincidence, Zekthor said when his officer pointed this out. They are probably avoiding a gravity well or some stellar phenomenon we have not detected. The officer nodded and returned to her work. Zekthor pushed the thought from his mind. He had tracked many vessels. Sometimes prey made lucky movements. It meant nothing. The human ship continued its journey. The Vrin continued to watch. Everything seemed perfect. The hunt was proceeding exactly as planned. Soon, very soon, Zekthor would have his 48th capture. The Dominion would learn about human technology, and Zekthor would earn another commendation for his flawless hunting record. He looked at the main screen. The Odyssey's gift was just a small dot in the vast darkness of space. Helpless, unaware, perfect prey. Zekthor smiled again. This was what he lived for. The hunt, the chase, the moment of capture. He was a predator, and predators always won, or so he believed. By the third day of tracking, Zekthor was becoming irritated. The human ship kept making these small adjustments. Each one seemed innocent. Each one made sense. But together they created a pattern that bothered him. The Odyssey's gift had changed course 17 times. Each change was small, but every single one forced the Talon of Supremacy to adjust its position slightly. Each adjustment revealed a little more about the Vrin scanning patterns. "Commander," the science officer said. Her voice was uncertain. "I am seeing something strange." Zekthor turned from his meditation screen. "What is it?" "Our stealth field. It is degrading faster than normal." "Not by much, but the rate is wrong. But how much faster?" Zekthor asked. 3%, maybe 4. Zekthor waved a hand dismissively. "That is within normal variation. Our stealth systems have been active for 3 days without rest. Some degradation is expected." But the science officer did not look satisfied. "Yes, Commander. But the pattern of degradation is unusual. It is concentrated in specific frequencies." "Which frequencies?" Zekthor asked, suddenly more interested. The officer checked her screens. "The same frequencies the human ship uses for its sensor sweeps." Silence fell over the bridge. Zekthor felt a cold sensation in his gut. No, it was impossible. Human sensors were basic. They could not penetrate Vrin stealth technology. Every intelligence report said so. "It is coincidence," Zekthor said firmly. "Human sensors operate on common frequencies." "Of course there is some overlap." The tactical officer spoke up. He was young but sharp. "Commander, I have been tracking the human sensor sweeps. They seem random at first, but when I map them, they cover exactly the areas where we have been positioning ourselves." "Show me," Zekthor commanded. The tactical display changed. It showed the Odyssey's gift in the center. Around it, colored zones showed where the human sensors had swept. The Talon's position history was overlaid in red. The match was almost perfect. Zekthor stared at the display. His 3 eyes widened. "No," he said softly. "They cannot see us. Our stealth is perfect." "Perhaps they are not seeing us," the tactical officer suggested carefully. "Perhaps they are. Feeling for us. Like hunting by sound instead of sight." "That makes no sense," Zekthor snapped. But even as he said it, doubt crept into his mind. The communications officer suddenly spoke. "Commander, I have been monitoring their internal communications. The crew talks about normal things, meals, entertainment, small repairs, but what?" Zekthor demanded. "It is too normal, sir. Too routine. I have intercepted communications from hundreds of vessels." Crews complain. They argue. They make mistakes. These humans sound like they are reading from a script. Zekthor felt his confidence beginning to crack. He had hunted for 20 cycles. He knew when something was wrong. And something here was very wrong. "Pull up the tactical map again," he ordered. "Show me every course change the human ship has made." The display changed. A line showed the Odyssey's gift path. Each course change was marked. Zekthor studied it carefully. His tactical mind, trained over decades, began to see the truth. The humans were not running. They were not trying to escape. Every course change had forced the Talon to reveal more about its capabilities. Each sensor sweep had tested a different aspect of Vrin stealth technology. They were not the prey. "The Vrin were, sir," the scanning officer said urgently. "The human vessel is changing course again. But this time it is a major change. They are turning directly toward us. That is impossible. They cannot know our position, Zekthor said. But his voice lacked conviction. Commander, the communications officer said. Her voice was shaking. We are receiving a transmission from the human ship. It is on all frequencies. Play it, Zekthor ordered. The bridge speakers came to life. A human voice spoke. It was female. Calm. Almost amused. We see you. 3 simple words, but they hit Zekthor like a physical blow. His entire body went rigid. Around him, his crew sat frozen at their stations. Impossible, Zekthor whispered. Our stealth is perfect. No one can see through it. The tactical officer was frantically checking his systems. Commander, our stealth field is still active. All readings show we are completely hidden. They are bluffing. They must be. Zekthor wanted to believe that. He desperately wanted to believe it. But something in that human voice told him it was true. They knew. Somehow they knew. What are your orders, Commander? The tactical officer asked. Should we power weapons? Prepare to engage? Zekthor hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him that something was wrong. He had been hunting for 3 days. But what if he had not been hunting at all? What if he had been the one being studied? The Odyssey's gift continued to turn. It was facing them now, still moving slowly, still appearing harmless. But Zekthor no longer believed in appearances. Sir, the human ship is transmitting again, the communications officer reported. Play it, Zekthor said quietly. The same calm female voice spoke again. Vrin warship Talon of Supremacy. This is Captain Maria Chen of the United Earth Confederation vessel Odyssey's Gift. You have been shadowing us for 72 hours. We have been tracking you for 72 hours and 8 minutes. We know your position, we know your capabilities, and we know exactly what you intended to do. The voice paused. When it continued, there was steel beneath the calm tone. It is time we had a conversation, Commander Zekthor. We have much to teach each other. Zekthor felt his legs weaken. They knew his name. They knew his ship. They had known everything from the beginning. The hunter had become the hunted, and he had not even realized it until the trap had closed around him. Zekthor struggled to control his breathing. His 3 hearts pounded in his chest. Around him, his crew waited for orders, but for the first time in his long career, Zekthor did not know what to do. Commander, the tactical officer said urgently, the human ship is changing configuration. On the main screen, the Odyssey's Gift was transforming. The cargo containers that lined its hull were separating. They moved outward on mechanical arms, but they were not cargo containers at all. They were sensor arrays, advanced scanning equipment, electronic warfare pods, systems far more sophisticated than anything the Vrin had detected. Scanning, the science officer said, her voice shaking. Those arrays are military grade, top tier. Some of the technology is unknown to us. Zekthor felt sick. The entire ship had been a disguise. Everything they had scanned for 3 days had been fake. The humans had shown the Vrin exactly what they wanted them to see. Incoming transmission, the communications officer reported. Video this time. Show it, Zekthor ordered. He needed to see this human. He needed to understand who had defeated him so completely. The screen changed. A human face appeared. Female, as the voice had suggested. She had dark skin and intelligent eyes. Her expression was calm and professional. She wore a dark blue uniform with insignia that meant nothing to Zekthor. Commander Zekthor, the human said. I am Captain Maria Chen. Thank you for accepting my transmission. Zekthor found his voice. You deceived us. Your ship was disguised. Yes, Captain Chen said simply, just as you were hiding from us. The difference is that we knew you were there. We wanted you to think we did not know. Why? Zekthor demanded. Why allow us to track you? Captain Chen smiled. It was not a cruel smile. It was almost friendly. Because we wanted to learn about you, Commander. We wanted to understand your tracking methods, your stealth technology, your tactics. The best way to learn these things was to let you use them against us. The words hit Zekthor like hammer blows. For 3 days he had thought he was studying the humans, but they had been studying him. Every scan he made they learned from. Every positioning choice he made they analyzed. This is not how warfare is conducted, Zekthor said. You should have engaged us immediately. Tested your strength against ours. Why? Captain Chen asked. Why fight when we could learn instead? You see, Commander, humanity learned warfare on a difficult planet. Earth is what we call a death world. Many creatures there were stronger than us, faster than us, better armed than us. We could not win by being superior. We had to win by being smarter. She leaned forward slightly. We developed something called persistence hunting. We would track an animal for days. We would learn its habits, its strengths, its weaknesses. We would study it until we understood it completely. Only then would we strike. Zekthor felt a chill run through his body. This was exactly what had happened. The humans had hunted him using methods he did not understand. Your stealth technology is impressive, Captain Chen continued. We have spent the last 3 days mapping every aspect of it. We know which frequencies it uses. We know how it bends light and sensor beams. We know its power requirements and its limitations. This information is now in our database. You cannot see through our stealth, Zekthor said desperately. Your sensors are not advanced enough. You are correct, Captain Chen agreed. We cannot see you directly, but we do not need to. We detected the gravitational distortion your ship creates. We tracked the slight disruption in background radiation. We measured the absence of cosmic particles where your hull blocks them. We found you by looking for the hole you create in space, not by seeing you directly. Zekthor had no response. The method was so simple, so obvious. Yet no one had ever tried it before because everyone focused on improving sensors rather than changing detection methods. Commander, the tactical officer whispered urgently. New contacts. Multiple ships decloaking around us. Zekthor looked at his tactical display. His blood turned to ice. 3 more human vessels had appeared. They surrounded the Talon of Supremacy in a perfect formation. They had been there all along, hidden, waiting. As you can see, Captain Chen said, you are not alone. These 3 ships have been following us since we entered the Kelros sector. They have been following you, actually. You never detected them because you were focused on us. We are surrounded, the tactical officer said unnecessarily. Zekthor stared at the display. 4 human ships. His single warship was powerful, but not powerful enough to fight 4 opponents at once. And these were not simple cargo vessels. They were military ships with advanced systems. What do you want? Zekthor asked quietly. All his pride was gone. He was defeated and he knew it. I want to offer you a choice, Captain Chen said. You can surrender your ship and crew for processing. You will be treated well according to galactic law. Or, Zekthor prompted, or you can leave, right now. You can return to the Vryn Dominion, but you will carry something with you. A message, and a lesson. Zekthor was confused. You would let us go? Just like that? Yes, Captain Chen said, because you are worth more to us alive than dead. You will tell your leaders what happened here. You will tell them that humans are not easy prey. You will tell them that we learn, that we adapt, that we turn every attack into a lesson. She paused. On Earth, Commander, we were not always the strongest. We were hunted by creatures far more dangerous than us. But we survived. We survived by being patient, by learning, by understanding our enemies better than they understood themselves. This is what makes humans dangerous. Not our weapons, not our technology, our willingness to learn from every encounter. Zekthor felt the weight of her words. His entire career had been built on being the superior hunter. But he had never been hunted himself. Not like this. Not by something that turned his own methods against him. I am transmitting a data package to your ship, Captain Chen continued. It contains complete logs of this encounter. Every mistake you made, every pattern we identified, every weakness we discovered. Consider it a gift, a free education in how humans think. Receiving data, the communications officer confirmed quietly. Return to your dominion, Commander Zekthor, Captain Chen said. Tell them what you learned here. Tell them that humans are always watching, always learning. Tell them that we do not need to be the strongest. We just need to understand you better than you understand us. The screen went dark. The human ships maintained their positions, but they had not powered their weapons. They were simply waiting, watching. Zekthor looked around his bridge. His crew looked back at him, waiting for orders. He had 2 choices. Fight and die or retreat and live with the shame. Set course for home, Zekthor said quietly. Maximum speed. It was the hardest order he had ever given, but it was also the wisest. The Talon of Supremacy jumped to faster than light speed as soon as it cleared the minimum safe distance. Zekthor sat in his command chair, staring at nothing. Around him, his crew worked in silence. No one spoke. No one made eye contact. The shame was suffocating. Zekthor had been a hunter for 20 cycles. 47 successful captures. He was a legend among the Vryn. And now that legend was destroyed. He had been defeated without a single shot fired. Worse than that, he had been made a fool. For 3 days he had thought he was the hunter. But he had been the prey all along. The humans had played him perfectly. They had known every move he would make before he made it. "Commander," the science officer said hesitantly, "should we analyze the data the humans sent us?" Zekthor wanted to order the data deleted. He wanted to pretend this had never happened. But that would be foolish. The data contained lessons. Painful lessons, but lessons nonetheless, yes, he said quietly. "Analyze it. I want a full report before we reach home." The science officer nodded and began working. Over the next several hours, she compiled the human data into a readable format. When she finished, she presented it to Zekthor in his private quarters. The report was devastating. The humans had documented everything. They had identified 17 separate tactical errors. They had predicted Zekthor's behavior with perfect accuracy. They had known he would track them for 3 days before attempting capture. They had known he would rely on his stealth technology. They had known his pride would blind him to the truth. The report included detailed analysis of Vryn stealth systems. The humans explained exactly how they had detected the Talon. They described methods that the Vryn had never considered, methods that required no advanced technology, just creative thinking. Most disturbing was the psychological profile. The humans had analyzed Zekthor personally. They knew he was confident, perhaps overconfident. They knew he followed traditional Vryn hunting doctrine. They knew he would make certain assumptions about human capabilities. They had used all of this knowledge against him. Every action they took was designed to reinforce his incorrect beliefs. They had manipulated him like a puppet. "This is humiliating," Zekthor said, putting down the data pad. "Yes, Commander," the science officer agreed, "but it is also educational. These humans think differently than we do. They do not rely on superior strength. They rely on superior understanding." Zekthor looked up at her. "You sound almost impressed." "I am," she said honestly. "We should be too. This is a new kind of warfare. One we are not prepared for." The journey home took 6 days. During that time, Zekthor read the human report again and again. Each reading made him angrier, not at the humans but at himself. Every mistake had been avoidable. Every error had been a result of his own assumptions. When the Talon of Supremacy finally reached Vryn space, Zekthor received orders to report immediately to the Council of Hunters. The council was the highest authority on military matters. They consisted of the 5 greatest hunters in Dominion history. Zekthor stood before them in the great council chamber. The 5 hunters sat on elevated platforms looking down at him. Their faces showed no emotion, but Zekthor knew they were judging him. "Commander Zekthor," the senior counselor said. His voice echoed in the chamber. "You have returned from the Kelros sector without your quarry. You have failed to capture a human vessel. Worse, you allowed that vessel to track you without your knowledge. Explain yourself." Zekthor stood straight. His pride was gone, but his courage remained. "Honored counselors, I was outmaneuvered by a superior tactical mind. The humans used methods we do not understand, methods that do not rely on technological superiority, but on psychological manipulation and adaptive strategy." "You speak of humans as if they are our equals," another counselor said sharply. "They are newcomers, primitives. They should not be capable of defeating a Vryn hunter." "That is the mistake I made," Zekthor said. "I underestimated them. I assumed technological inferiority meant tactical inferiority. I was wrong. The humans sent me data documenting my failure. I request permission to present it to the council." The counselors looked at each other. The senior counselor nodded. "Present your data." For the next 2 hours, Zekthor explained everything that had happened. He showed them the human analysis. He demonstrated how the humans had detected his stealth. He outlined every tactical error he had made. The counselors listened in growing concern. When Zekthor finished, there was a long silence. "This is worse than we thought," one counselor said. "The humans are not primitives. They are a genuine threat. We should attack them now," another counselor urged. "Before they become stronger. We have superior numbers and technology. We can overwhelm them." But the senior counselor raised a hand for silence. He was the oldest and wisest of them all. He had hunted for 50 cycles. He understood things the younger counselors did not. "No," he said firmly. "We will not attack. Look at what they did to Commander Zekthor. They turned his attack into a learning opportunity. If we attack them, what will they learn from that? What will they turn against us?" The chamber fell silent again. The counselors understood the implication. Every attack against the humans would make them stronger. Every battle would teach them something new. "What do you recommend?" the senior counselor asked Zekthor. "You have faced them. You have studied their methods. What should we do?" Zekthor took a deep breath. His answer would shape Dominion policy for years to come. "We should be cautious. We should study them as they studied us. And we should never ever underestimate them. The humans may not be the strongest species in the galaxy, but they might be the most dangerous because they learn from everything, including their enemies." The senior counselor nodded slowly. "Wise words, Commander. Painful wisdom, but wisdom nonetheless. You are dismissed." "And Zekthor?" "Yes, honored counselor. You have lost a battle, but you have gained knowledge. That makes you more valuable now than you were before. Do not let shame blind you to this truth." Zekthor bowed deeply. He left the council chamber with mixed feelings. His reputation was damaged, perhaps destroyed. But he was alive, and he had learned the most important lesson of his life. The hunt was not always won by the strongest predator. Sometimes it was won by the one who learned the fastest. Word of Zekthor's encounter spread quickly through the Dominion. At first, many refused to believe it. The Vryn were the superior hunters. Humans were newcomers. This story had to be exaggerated or false, but then other reports began arriving. A Vryn patrol ship had encountered a human science vessel. The patrol ship had tried to intimidate the humans, but the humans had calmly recorded every detail of the Vryn weapons and tactics. They thanked the patrol ship for the demonstration and left peacefully. A Dominion intelligence station detected human ships near their borders. But these ships were not attacking. They were simply observing, watching, learning. When the Vryn sent ships to intercept them, the humans withdrew without conflict. But they had already gathered whatever data they wanted. The pattern became clear. Humans were systematically studying every major power in the galaxy. They were not conquering. They were not expanding aggressively. They were learning. Other species began to notice too. The Kelthian Trade Federation reported similar experiences. So did the Morsic Empire. So did the free colonies of Antares. Everywhere humans went, they observed and cataloged and learned. A new phrase entered galactic vocabulary: adaptive warfare. It described the human approach to conflict. They did not need to win every battle. They just needed to learn from every encounter. Victory would come later, after they understood their opponent completely. Zekthor watched these developments from his new position. He had been reassigned. No longer a ship commander, he now worked for Dominion intelligence. His task was to study human behavior and predict their actions. He had become good at it, better than anyone else in the Dominion, because he understood something that others did not. He understood how humans thought. He understood their patience, their focus on learning rather than dominating. One day, 6 months after his encounter with Captain Chen, Zekthor received a communication. It came through encrypted channels. The sender was unknown, but Zekthor recognized the signature immediately. It was human. The message was simple. "Commander Zekthor, this is Captain Chen. I hope you are well. I wanted you to know that your report to the Council of Hunters was intercepted and read by our intelligence services. Your analysis was accurate and honest. That takes courage. Few beings can admit their mistakes so openly. Because of this, I wanted to share something with you. A perspective that might help you understand what humanity is doing." The message continued. "You asked me once why we do not simply fight. Why we spend so much time learning. The answer is simple. On our homeworld, we learned a hard lesson. We learned it from every predator that hunted us. The strongest does not always survive. The fastest does not always escape. The smartest does not always outsmart. But the one who adapts, the one who learns from every encounter, that one has the best chance of survival. We are not trying to conquer the galaxy, Commander. We are trying to survive in it. And the best way to survive is to understand everything around us, every species, every culture, every threat. We turn our enemies into our teachers. Every attack teaches us something new. Every conflict makes us stronger. You have become a teacher too, Commander. Your report taught us much about how the Dominion thinks, how it reacts to unexpected defeat. This knowledge is valuable to us. Thank you for the lesson. The message ended with a final line. Remember, Commander, the greatest predator is not the one with the sharpest claws. It is the one that learns from every scar. Humanity has many scars. We have learned from all of them. Zekthor read the message 3 times. Then he deleted it. But the word stayed with him. The humans had intercepted his private report to the Council. They had read his most secret analysis. And instead of using it against him, they had thanked him for it. This was the human way. They turned everything into a learning opportunity. Even their enemies' private communications became lessons. Meanwhile, in a secure facility deep inside Earth's solar system, Captain Chen sat in a briefing room. Around her were other captains, other commanders. They were reviewing the latest intelligence from across the galaxy. Admiral Okonkwo stood at the head of the table. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded Earth's deep space forces for 10 years. She understood the long game better than anyone. Status report, the Admiral said. One by one, the captains reported. Each one had encountered different species. Each one had gathered data. The Vryn stealth technology, the Kelthian trade networks, the Morsec military doctrine, the Antares colony structures. Everything was being cataloged and analyzed. Excellent work, Admiral Okonkwo said when they finished. We now have comprehensive data on 17 major powers and 43 minor ones. We understand their capabilities, their tactics, their psychology. This information gives us an advantage that no amount of weapons could provide. Captain Chen raised her hand. Admiral, a question. How long do we continue this strategy? When do we stop learning and start acting? The Admiral smiled. We never stop learning, Captain. That is the point. Other species think in terms of dominance hierarchies. They want to be the strongest, the fastest, the best. We think in terms of adaptation. We want to be the most informed, the most flexible, the most understanding. She walked to the window. Outside, Earth floated in the darkness of space, blue and green and beautiful. A death world that had created the most adaptable species in the galaxy. Our ancestors were not the apex predators of Earth, the Admiral continued. Lions were stronger. Cheetahs were faster. Eagles had better vision. Bears had better weapons. But we survived all of them. Do you know how? No one answered. They all knew, but they wanted to hear her say it. We survived by learning from everything that tried to kill us. We studied the lions and learned pack tactics. We studied the cheetahs and learned persistence hunting. We studied the eagles and learned to see from multiple perspectives. Every predator that hunted us became our teacher, and eventually we became the apex predator, not because we were the strongest, but because we learned from everything. She turned back to face the captains. That is what we are doing now. We are turning the entire galaxy into our classroom. Every species that threatens us is teaching us how to defeat them. They just do not realize it yet. What if they realize it? Another captain asked. What if they stop attacking us? Stop revealing their capabilities? Then we will have achieved our goal, Admiral Okonkwo said. Peace through understanding. We do not need to conquer the galaxy. We just need to understand it so well that no one dares to threaten us. And if they do threaten us, we will know exactly how to respond. Captain Chen nodded slowly. She understood now. Humanity was not building an empire. They were building a knowledge base. They were creating a comprehensive understanding of every potential threat. This knowledge was more valuable than any weapon. Light years away, Zekthor sat in his office reviewing the latest human activity reports. He saw the pattern clearly now. The humans were not expanding aggressively, but they were everywhere, watching, learning, growing stronger with each encounter. He had warned the Council. He had told them that humans were dangerous, but not in the way the Dominion understood danger. Humans were not dangerous because they were strong. They were dangerous because they learned. Zekthor wondered if the galaxy would realize this truth before it was too late. Would other species understand that every attack on humanity made humanity stronger? Would they learn that the humans were not prey to be hunted, but students who turned every hunt into a lesson? He looked at the star maps on his screen. Somewhere out there, human ships were moving, observing, recording, learning. They were patient. They would wait as long as necessary, because they had learned patience from the greatest teacher of all, Earth, the death world. The planet that taught its children that survival did not come from strength. It came from the ability to learn, adapt, and endure. The humans had brought those lessons to the stars. And the galaxy was slowly, painfully, learning what that meant. The predators of the galaxy had tried to hunt humanity, but they had not realized that by doing so, they had become humanity's unwitting instructors. Each attack was a lesson. Each threat was data. Each encounter made humanity more dangerous. Zekthor leaned back in his chair. He thought about Captain Chen's final words. The greatest predator is not the one with the sharpest claws. It is the one that learns from every scar. Humanity had many scars, and they had learned from all of them. That was what made them truly dangerous. Not their weapons, not their technology. Their willingness to turn pain into wisdom, to transform every defeat into knowledge, to make every enemy into a teacher. The galaxy had tried to track a human vessel, but in the end the predator had become the hunted, and the lesson was clear for anyone wise enough to see it. Never underestimate the species that learned to survive on a death world, because they did not survive by being the strongest. They survived by being the smartest. And in the vast darkness of space, intelligence was the ultimate weapon.